man, how you doing?
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Great. What did I want to talk to you about? A few things I actually wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about credits, and I wanted to talk to you about the throttle limit.
Okay.
Let me do this. Let me give them a call.
What do you want to start with?
Yeah. Okay.
Did I lose you?
Yeah.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
You want to call me on my cell phone instead? I kind of have a couple other people in the office, so I don't want to interrupt them.
Yeah. What's your number?
It's 850.
Give me just 1 second. Uh, Give me just 1 second. I'll grab it.
I'm just gonna send it to you in Skype.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I'll just call you on your cell.
Cool, man.
All right.
Talk soon.
Bye. So let's just call him right from text in bulk.
Hey.
Yeah, hey, you can hear me fine?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Great. So a couple things I want to talk about. The the first, I guess, would be credits. Okay, so I see in the API where we can actually add credits to the user account. So whenever you guys add credits to a user account, that's going to hit that API call to add the arbitrary credit in Stridix, right?
Yeah, that's what I assume. They kind of built that feature out just for us, for our accounting purposes. But in the back end of Stratix, we could set how much the customer's rate is. So here, let me I'm gonna call you on Skype, but I'm gonna keep it on mute so that we could screen share,
Yeah, sure.
and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I got you.
Cool. Okay, so here's the back end of Stratix under accounts,
Don't see it yet.
and in the settings. Oh, you don't see it?
Mm.
Oh, you see now?
Yeah.
Okay. So down here at the bottom right, we set the pricing. It looks like they don't have the pricing set up back here for SMS yet, so I guess that doesn't really even apply.
So we can manage that on our side.
Yeah, we can manage all of that on our side.
Is this going to be? Is it going to vary per client?
Yeah, it's going to vary for each client.
Okay.
It just reminded me.
And this is all just arbitrage. This is just for you to count how much money this particular client has paid you guys.
Right. This is we're the only one that could actually see this
Right.
accounting side. But the way that it's set up right now is we just added 3,000 for this client, but we charge them 0.013 for each text message, and the balance will go down based on how many text messages are sent. So
But
it does know
in our
know on
application,
here that
that's not correct though. In our application, the balance shouldn't go down based on how many text messages we send out. The balance should go down based on literally how many leads they give us to contact.
right at a rate that's proportional to how many are being sent out.
Correct. So so the one issue that I see right now is there's no support for it's not mentioned in the docs, and there's no support. So in the docs, I don't see anything that's at, like in the doc that you sent me. Uh, I I don't see anything about the about the send rate, but I'll get to that in a second. But right now, it doesn't look like in the back end there's any actual support to. It doesn't look like in the back end there's any support to set the price per text message for each user, and it's not something that I anticipated. It's not a huge thing, and I could do it, but it's kind of getting out of scope of basing everything, especially since I based everything on that initial document and an estimate, and then Andy basically asked me to reduce my price by like freaking 50%. So the amount of extra stuff that I'm going to be able to do for the same budget that's not in the scope is going to be really limited, especially since I dropped the price so much already. So this is kind of getting out of scope to be able to control. So my proposal would be, let's say right off the bat, we'll just set it statically, and then every client gets depleted at 0.1 at whatever static rate there is. If I need to add in support to be able so that you guys on your end can go into the platform from an admin side and say, hey, this dude is going to get charged this rate per SMS, then it would obviously be better off to do that at the beginning, and then I'll just send an estimate of how much additional time that's going to be, and we can kind of figure that out as we go, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even think that you're going to have to build that out, because basically the credits are just going to be they're going to be like fugazi. They're not going to be real. Like when these guys pay us a certain amount of dollars to get a certain amount of credits, we're going to have to upload the credits in their account. So we want to just be able to go in there and be like, we want to add 250,000 credits, and then the number counts down. We don't want it to tie into their rate. We'll figure all of that math out on our end. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, because I got to show them some depletion of credits, right? You guys are at what rate do I deplete credits? That ends up being my question. You guys go in because these guys are going to log in and they're going to see how many credits that they have, and I'm assuming in order for them to continue to run a campaign, they have to have enough credits in their platform to be able to keep running a campaign. And once all the credits in their platform are expired, I would assume that all their campaigns would be paused until they go in and add more credits. But I mean, I guess.
Yeah, but I think you're overthinking it, just because we're gonna keep it static at 1 credit equals 1 text.
Okay.
So if there's different rates, let's say someone gives us 3,000.
Okay, so that makes it easy. So 1 credit equals one.
So we would.
1 text message.
Yeah, it's exactly. So we would see that they sent us a wire for a certain amount, and then we would do the math on our end and only
convert
add
that to
the amount of
credits.
Credits that are needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys.
Everything's just going to be based off of 1 credit equals 1 text.
All right, perfect. That makes it simple. So basically, then you go into the admin section, you add credits for them. That's only from an admin only. You add 3,000 credits, and let's say they upload a lead packet with 3,000 leads, and then Stridex goes in and says that, hey, you just gave me 3,000 leads. I loaded 100 of them because everybody else was malformatted or on the do not disturb list or whatever, or whatever. I think that's what they're calling suspended whenever they see those suspended in there. So anyways, they load up 3,000 they load up 3,000 leads. Stridex basically says, okay, I got your 3,000 leads, and I've uploaded, I can't remember what they tag it, but they tag it something as far as how many of these can I actually send a text message out to. It's like current or something, or loaded. That's what they call it. They call it loaded. So Stridex loads 100 of those leads. We send out those 100 text messages. What should have happened in our system is the 3,000 credits that those guys had are now depleted because that lead packet has been exhausted of 3,000. So that's 3,000 credits, even though we only sent out the 100 text messages.
Right, because it's the client's responsibility to make sure that their lists are clean and that they're doing the right things to make sure that the list is good. So
right.
If they're not doing that, if they're just buying crap data, then they deserve to have that happen.
Right, regardless of the justification, that is the logic, right?
Right.
We're going to,
Yeah,
so it's 1 credit per Okay, so it's not really 1 credit per text message. It's really 1 credit per lead. So every lead that they upload, they need to have a credit to be able to process that guy, regardless of whether we send out a text message or not. Uh, so
Exactly.
so no issue. So no issue there. My so no issue there. So the other thing is in this throttle rate. I don't see anything in the docs for the actual throttle rate the doc that you gave me. I don't see anything in the flow where they actually set the throttle rate. I do see in the Stratix API whenever I create a campaign that I set a limit for SMS per minute. Uh,
That's the throttle rate.
Right. So it's not mentioned in the actual doc that you sent me, but I assume that my assumption is it belongs somewhere in this once logged in section, somewhere when they create that SMS campaign. Um, they're going to give that throttle rate when they're creating that campaign.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's like built into the create a campaign API section. So once that's built out, I'm assuming it's just going to be there.
Well,
But then on our end, the only thing we're going to have to build is the ratio part.
right. Well, I have an issue. I have a small issue with the ratio. Let me check their API again, but I have a small issue with the actual ratio, and I'm not exactly sure how to solve it. But so basically, whenever they create a campaign, they need to give me most of these data objects that are in the API, other than the account ID, because I have that. They need to give me the actual message they want to send out. They have to give me a name of the campaign, and they need to give me when they want to start the campaign, when they want to end the campaign, and SMS per minute. Now, what I'm a little confused about though is they give me a start date. They they give me a start date. They give me SMS per minute. I'm not really sure what the end date's for, because the end date is the end date I would could be calculated automatically by taking the start date and then figuring out how many SMS per minute they want to send out.
Right. The end date it's for like campaign planning. So like let's say someone uploads a 500,000 record list and they want to set it to only run like 9 to 12 p.m.
Okay.
And they only set it at like 300 SMS per minute.
Okay, and then
So
they may not
maybe like
exhaust entirely. They may not exhaust the entire packet, so that's why they set an end date in case they don't actually, in case they upload 100 million leads and they only want to run the campaign for a week, and they're not going to end up exhausting the entire
right.
lead packet. Okay, no, so no,
Yeah,
so no issues there. Now,
yeah.
the other problem here though, I don't see in the docs that you sent me is the ability for these guys to go in and actually build the schedule. Okay, no, that's in there. You need to be able to create the
I
actual
think it's going to
schedule.
create a campaign.
No, it's in 13. It's in there, so you need to be able to create a schedule. Okay, so no issue there. I see the create a schedule. No big issue there. Now, my one big issue that I'm not really sure exactly how to solve is, let's say, for example, like if you look at that, if you log into the account that you gave me, you'll see the lead packet that I uploaded earlier. So the issue that I noticed right off the bat is in my lead packet there were 728, or there were 757 leads in that packet, and there were only 28 loaded. Okay, the majority of the leads ended up being on the suspended list, on the do not disturb list. Okay, so the issue that I have is just the raw mathematics, the fact that SMS per minute is an integer, and it's very possible that, I mean, it's very possible, very probable almost always likely that SMS per minute actually is going to need to be a decimal value. So it's going to kind of screw up for one, it's going to kind of screw up the math and the progress in converting this ratio. I mean, that's going to be a little bit of the pain in the ass for me to actually account for the ratio itself. I mean, worst case scenario, like whenever I calculated things, I wanted to send in my theoretical campaign. I want to send 10 text messages per second. That's how I want to, or 10 text messages per minute. That's my goal in my campaign, to send out the 10 text messages per minute. So from the lead packet that I generated, though, there was 757 leads that I gave to Stridex, and Stridex uploaded 28 of those guys. So now, once I do the actual ratio, that means that what I actually, in order for the elapsed time to match, because doing 10 leads a minute means that out of that 757, I need to have 75 minutes. I need to have a 75-minute long campaign. That's how long my campaign would be if I just blasted it at 10 SMS per second. Now, in order to maintain that 75-minute means that what I actually have to give Stridex is I have to give him 0.36 of a text message every minute. So that means that roughly every 6 minutes, I will send two, or roughly every 5 minutes, I will send 2 SMS.
Well, honestly, like a lot of the people that are going to be using this platform are going to be using so many credits at once that I don't even foresee that being an issue. But if you loaded 757 and only a few amount were able to be texted, it's probably because the suppressed cell phones was checked, or some setting wasn't correct.
What's that mean? What's that mean? Suppressed cell phones.
When you load a list, it has an option to suppress cell phones, so that you only get landlines.
Okay.
So sometimes when you do that, you can't even text anybody on the list. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. That.
Because they have suppressed cell phones for, I think I don't know if it's ringless voicemail or voice broadcast that they do it for, but there's some campaign that people prefer having no cell phones with.
Okay. So worst case scenario is I end up having an inaccurate value of SMS per minute that ends up being 1 SMS per minute, even though it should be less, and the amount of time it takes them to run their campaign appears to be less than it should be, and then I have to go in on the back end, and I have to go in our application and try to figure out how to account for that missing time if needed.
Yeah. Like I said, most lists that we get, the smallest list I've ever seen was 15,000, and even if we suppress like just the landline, the smallest list that we've gotten was like 10,000 from the 15,000. So I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where it's going to be like a decimal per minute.
Well, even with 10,000, I would say it would be, because I mean, with 10,000, I would definitely still say it's going to be, because those guys are, I mean, I guess it depends on the size of their initial list. So, because we're not going, I mean, essentially we're not going off that 10,000, right? We're going off of the total leads that they load up, which if it's substantially, I mean, in my case, it was just a substantially larger amount of leads that were uploaded versus leads that were loaded.
Right. Yeah, I think that's only because a setting must have been off. Because you have to actually click the off for suppressed cell phones, and then you have to also check that it's for SMS, because then it will suppress the landlines at the same time instead.
So should I just go ahead whenever I do this? Where was this? Retrieve outbound. Where the hell hell is this? Phone list, get phone list, upload phone list, list name, split states. They don't give me the options. See, they don't give me. Oh, they do give me the options. Suppress cell phones. Suppress cell phones
Yeah, so
is
that has to be
0.
off.
Suppress cell phones. What does that say? Enter your values in this list. See notes for details. Okay, that's gonna be suppress cell phone input. So this
Do you
should be.
remember how to log?
This should be scrubbed. Setting this will not
Yeah, all
remove
it
any
needs to
numbers
be
from the list.
put them
So I'm
in
on
one.
your cell phone, except DNC numbers. Remove up the list. Value 1, remove cell phones, leaving only landlines. Okay, so this platform that we're making is only for SMS, right?
Yes, it's only for SMS, so you could set it to auto.
I could set it to 2.
To,
Yeah, I could set it to 2 and not even give them the option, and just when they load the list, go ahead and just statically set the option to 2, which will remove all landline phones and leave only cell phones.
yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay. So okay. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, you definitely must have had. Yeah, you had cell phone suppressed. Because if you double click on that phone list you uploaded, it says list type cell phone suppressed.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. The other issue, the list mapping, I can figure that out. What about the DNC option? Should that be something that they're allowed to pick whenever they upload their list?
Like what DNC option? Which one?
There's an option in there, use NAT DNC Boolean value to filter the uploaded list against the national do not call list.
Can you always have it check the national do not call list?
Yeah, I can have a default to always do it. Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Give me 1 second, okay? I
Yeah.
just gotta take this call real quick.
Yeah, that's all I needed. We're done, man.
Okay, cool.
All
Well,
right.
hit me up on Skype and we'll be in touch.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
That's it. A little bit more info for you.